We can cover the first one, the sewage. Oh, well, I was going through their review letter, yeah, so one of the other sections of the proposed ordinance is that sewage treatment plants serving mobile home parks, single-family attached residences, and/or multifamily residences may only be located in a zoning district that permits those residential uses. So this came about because we had seen some concept plans from a developer where he was hoping to put the sewer plant that would serve a higher density development in a lower density part of the township, and it seemed to make more sense to keep that sewer plant in the area where the higher density development is. And there's also already a sewer plant there, so in that particular situation, the new sewer plant would replace the old one, ultimately.
Is everyone familiar with the zoning map and what that actually means? Because I met with Tracy earlier this week and asked her just to point out the Tim Hendricks property and where he was planning versus the actual zone, so that I understood this item a little better.
Yeah, so the zoning map on the back wall there, the orange areas are our highest density development. The yellow is the next highest, and then the light green is our low density kind of agricultural. So in some of the concepts he had put out, he was proposing the sewer plant would serve the orange area and yellow area, but the sewer plant would be located in the light green area. And so that wasn't really supported by the planning commission. So we thought it would make sense to have some clear language in our code. I think, Norm, you thought that we had some language that would support requiring it in the orange area, but this just kind of makes it a little stronger.
Yeah. And this is kind of like a belts and suspenders kind of thing. Mm-hmm. These really kind of came out all because of that project. And Tracy had stated, but to kind of reiterate it, basically this is a numbers game. And the developer was trying to do what they were doing is because they wanted to place it in an area where it wouldn't cost them as many dwelling units. And they could not take up this space in the higher dwelling units when they really, in that particular case, didn't plan on developing the property that way anyway. But it was really came down to the numbers game. And this, you know, what Tracy was talking about is a good way to just kind of protect the township.
Anything else? So,
No, I think my questions were done.
that's all right. Hit all the buttons, so that's good. Any public comments? No?
Okay, so there's nothing further than I recommend that we conclude the public hearing and move on with the regular agenda items.
Okay. The minutes,
Public comment.
yeah, public comment.
Yeah, that public comment
I-
was just for the
Here we-
hearing, yeah.
I got it. Any other public comment this time? Okay. The minutes, the board's unable to approve them.
Right, so we don't have a majority of members of the board from December. So what I would recommend, and Ken, you can let us know if this makes sense, is we could just post the minutes with a watermark that says not approved, so that at least they're posted. I can have Sean look them over since he was part of that meeting, if that works. I'm not sure what else to do.
I don't know what else you can do.
Okay.
The problem arises because two newly elected people were not on the board for the December meeting. Those two people can't vote because they're no longer supervisors.
Correct.
So you're in this predicament. I might only suggest, in addition to what you've recommended here, that you just put something in the minutes that just explains kind of what I said as to why they couldn't be approved.
Sure.
Okay. Treasurer's report, bills to be paid. This time I'd like to make a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented and filed for audit. Do I have a second?
Can I ask you a question here too? I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
So there's obviously a lot of bills, so for me to just say, yes, I approve the bills being paid, I just wanted to know what the process was that you go through, making sure that the invoices match up with services? Is there some type of match in the system that does that? Do you have purchase orders or things of that nature that get us to the point where we can approve the
So,
invoices?
couple things, so there's actually the treasurer's report,
Mhm.
and then the second motion would be bills to be paid. So,
Right.
so the first one is the report from the
Oh.
treasurer, where she just kind of gives an overview of
Yeah.
where we ended in
Mhm.
2023, kind of indicating that, you know, our revenues were on budget, we were at 100% of revenues, we received, our expenditures were slightly under budget by 120,000 in 2023. So overall, we did pretty well in 2023. She did note that the general fund is still owed some money from Park Crossing and Ivy Ridge for bills, and that'll get dispersed here shortly. She was just busy with some other things, getting that done. And then we are in the middle, right now, of transitioning to a new software program. So we've been really busy getting trained on the new software program and the new billing. So, but then going to your question, so we sort of have checks and balances internally. So Kate processes bills that come in, she enters them, and then our treasurer will separately go over them and make sure that everything matches, and then typically I'll like do a final double check of them. Once you guys are up to speed and signatories for the township, which we'll take care of tonight, typically you guys will come in before your regular meeting and go over and sign checks. And what we do in the office is we'll have the check and then attached to it is the invoice and then the account number that it goes to, so that you will see what it is and what it's for, sort of thing. And then if you have questions in that process, then you can certainly ask me or Kate. Okay? All right.
I'm gonna repeat that motion again, please.
Yeah, and I apologize, I thought you had already gone over that part there. That's why I was asking. Yeah, so I will go ahead and repeat that. So I make a motion to accept the treasury report as presented and file for audit. Do I have a second?
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So then the next one is your bills, and your bills for this past month are $99,862.56, and it tends to be on the higher side. A couple key reasons for that is that we are making our second installment toward the purchase of the Girl Scout preservation, and that's gonna be $26,000 this month that we're paying. And then we also, like I said, we have the new software program, and so we had to make our annual payment for that, which was $11,000. So those are two big ticket items in the bills for this month.
That's the castle program you're talking about. Is that the one I looked on now?
Cassell, yep,
Cassell,
exactly.
okay, yeah.
Right.
It's in the accounting software. Is that every year we're paying 11,000 for that software?
It is, yeah. So currently though, we're gonna be going from 2 software programs down to this. We will be able to consolidate our work, and the hope is that it'll improve our efficiencies internally as well. So, but yeah, it's not cheap, but
I looked over it, I
Yeah.
went to their website, was checking it out, it's actually good software.
yeah.
Okay. So this one here is to make a motion to approve payment of the bills totaling $99,862.56. To advance to the treasurer funds to pay the bills as needed for expenditures to save funding, secure interest, and payroll prior to the Board of Supervisors regular monthly meeting in February. Do I have a second?
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Emergency services. Plymouth is
Yeah,
down here.
I don't think they're here. They often don't come to the meetings. So they did have 30 calls this past month,
Yeah.
13 of which were to Frederick Living. Fire company, I'm not sure if they have anyone. Oh,
I'll
yeah.
do that.
Okay, great.
For December 2023, we had 17 total calls. Just a short breakdown, we had 3 building fires, but they were all away games, one in Marlboro, one in Lower Fred, one in New Hanover. 2 chimney fires, 2 accident with injuries, 1 accident, and 2 alarm systems, which I believe were at the home. Had a total of 90 man hours for fire calls. We had a total of 499 man hours for everything outside of that. For 2023, we had a total of 191 total calls, and 396 man hours for fire calls. Right now, we're working on trying to get our website back up. Our provider kind of disappeared. Long story short, we found out the guy who owned it passed away, and the family is fighting for the estate. So we have a provider and trooper who's going to do just a landing page for us pro bono at this point until we can find something else out. So hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll have that back up. We want to thank the residents who have donated to our fund drive so far. It's been out for about a month, and we're about right now at a 4% return rate. And then thank you to the road crew for their help last night during the storms. And also, I forget what day it snowed, when we had the call on Perkiomen. Chris and Jason were out there helping us out and getting the salt down on there, so kind of clean it up a little bit.
Water sewer plant report, thanks, Jeff.
Plants are running good, no violations to report. We had 3 major rain events that I got called into at Ivy Ridge. Getting a lot of flow there during the rains. Most likely some pumps. So,
Going in the drains.
yeah,
Yeah, so we'll be sending letters to all the residents, and they're reminding them that they're not supposed to be connecting their sump pumps to the sewer system. Because during these storms, when they do that, it really pushes the limits.
and it don't take much. I mean, 3 sump pumps, just that little bit can
Oh, absolutely.
be a lot. You're only putting out 30 gallons, usually a minute, you know, so you put a couple sump pumps on there.
Yeah. Then you have that problem in Perk Crossing too. How'd you guys remedy that? You just.
No, it's always been Ivy Ridge.
Oh,
Which was maybe my question is, we've sent multiple letters. What's the recourse for the township at this point?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the challenge is figuring out who's doing it, right? We don't really know. I mean, if there's something obvious, we can certainly go after them and say, you know, we know you're doing it, but a lot of times we don't know. And so it's mostly just a reminder, you know, this is your system. You guys are paying for it. Like, if you want to mess it up, it's just going to cost more money, right?
Yeah.
So the hope is that people will get that and just do the right thing.
Okay.
I mean, perfect example of Ivy Ridge, the dechlorination tablets. On a normal week, I might go through 10 tablets. Just last night, I went through 20 in one night. So it costs a lot more money when you're putting just rainwater through.
Absolutely.
Is there any ability to inspect people's sump pumps?
Like a meter, not a sump pump, but the meter itself.
Not really, I mean, because they're in their basements. I mean, we can't just knock on the door and say, we're gonna come
Could you
in and check
schedule?
out your
I
house.
guess they exchange them by then.
Yeah. That was it?
That's it. Any
Okay.
questions?
For me, any other questions from me? No. Civil engineers report?
Okay, LTL has updated the report for the month of January, sent that on to the township. Hopefully you have a copy of that.
We did.
I can answer any questions you might have about it. There's really not a whole lot of activity going on. Since you guys are new, if you want, I can go give a real quick project by project, or...
I would appreciate that.
Sure. Albert's Track subdivision, that's been on there for a while, quite a while. And the issue was, just before the plan was recorded, we found out it was a different use than they stated on the plan. And we've been trying to work with the property owner. I spoke with John Cuck yesterday, I think it was, and he said he recently did have a site visit there. I don't think it's been finally resolved yet, but once it has been taken care of, they'll be able to record their plans and get that finished up. I don't think they're in a whole lot of under a whole lot of pressure themselves, simply because they're using it as they want to now as it is, so. I
Okay.
don't know, Tracy, if you have anything more to add?
No, I mean, they've just been quiet. Yeah, I mean, we're waiting for them to finish their compliance items.
Where is this at? Good.
The Alberts tract is, I'm trying to
Is
think.
it Kraus?
It says Kratz.
Kratz.
Kratz?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I was thinking-
Yeah, so it's, if you cross Gravel Pike and go down Kratz, just before it makes that sharp right turn
Yes.
into Lower Fred, there's a property to the left, it's that property right there.
They just put up that big barn there.
Is that the line?
I hope they didn't put up a big barn
Oh, maybe
there.
I'm in the wrong place then.
Oh, I think you're on this side of Gravel Pike
Yeah.
of Kratz Road,
Okay.
right?
I must be, yeah.
Yeah, it's on the opposite
Yeah, other
side,
side,
Okay.
yeah.
heading towards the creek. Perkiomen.
Oh, okay, I knew you were up on the left up there, okay.
Yeah, just before it makes a sharp right, it goes into Lower Fred, and that's the property. in
Okay, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it took a while to get to even the final plan stage. There was a lot of family issues and problems there, but like I said, once thought we were at the finish line, we found this out and been working through it. Hopefully, we're getting close to the end. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
So that's
Keep-
14.5 acres and they want to subdivide it, do you think, into two?
Correct. Correct, yeah.
They were cutting off a lot for a niece and nephew,
Oh,
son,
yeah.
to build a
Yeah,
home.
son or
So
grandson.
something, yeah, it was a relative. So, okay, Big Road, I'm sorry, that's, I think the last property on the right-hand side as you're heading towards Boyertown in Upper Frederick Township. They were in, kind of kicking tires a little bit. They're waiting for sewer. That's really, I think, what it kind of comes down to. And so they keep up to speed as far as what's going on with
Wait, which one is that?
Big Road.
One next to Ivy Ridge.
Yeah, Ivy Ridge.
They have sewer.
They have sewer? I thought
Yeah.
the sewer was the issue on that one. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Julian. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they were looking at kind of like a unique flex space kind of a property, and I don't know, it didn't seem to generate any steam, and really haven't heard anything from them since then.
Yeah, I think they got conditional use approval, which is kind of the first step in the approval process. But prior to that, they came in with a concept plan wanting to do residential units attached. I think three unit attached, like triplex sort of kind of style. But they wanted to be able to do 29 units, which is how much capacity they have been paying for in the Ivy Ridge sewer system. So they were hoping to be able to flip that zoning from commercial to residential and get 29 units in there. When they came to the supervisors at the time, the supervisor said, no, we're not interested in giving you that many units, maybe something less. And so then they went away and they came back with these flex commercial.
Yeah, I think the buy right number
residential
was like
spaces.
10. And
The
they
what?
were- The buy right number was like 10, and they were looking for like 29 or something, and
Yeah.
that didn't float. And then they came back in with these, like I said, like flex space, almost like
Yeah.
subcontractor kind of units or something like that. And again, it just didn't seem to really, they didn't seem to have a whole lot of interest past that. They sent the sketch plan in, but that was about it. So. Next one, Three Dog Garage, they got their conditional use. I think right at this point, they're working on getting their HOP stuff squared away. And they have recently, or supposedly, submitted plans to address the conditional use issues and some of the items in LTLs and the township planner's most recent letters. So they're trying to get those things squared away and get their HOP. That's about as much as I know about that one. Anything
And
else?
just so you know, HOP is their highway
Oh,
occupancy permit.
State road. So they're taking access onto that or using an existing access but changing its use or volume or purpose. They'll need to get an HOP, and that's where they're at now.
Okay.
So, okay. Frederick Liddy Campus Ban expansion. They worked long and hard to get that approved, got it approved, and then at that point, the market was not demanding what they got it approved for, so they put a pin in it. And that's where it is at for fall of 2020, something like that. So, okay. So that's about it. I can answer any questions if you have them. But otherwise, that kind of brings you up to speed for now. You are welcome.
And the plan is, one of your special meetings coming up was to pull out some of these development plans so that you could actually visually see them and kind of go over them in more detail. Okay.
So Frederick Living's it's just sitting for right now. They're not even, that switched ownership and everything at this point, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay. Planning Commission?
I don't think, did we have a meeting? No, we didn't have a meeting in December.
Okay. CPVRPC?
There was no meeting in
December,
December,
okay,
and I haven't heard from Eric, so I don't think we have a meeting this month either.
okay.
Parks and Rec Board?
Do you know, incorrect? They did not have a meeting in December either.
Manager updates.
Did we skip the public works?
We did.
Yeah, where did I do that?
It's
okay, I'm on top of it.
It's all right.
Where?
He's sleeping tonight. We'll just
I'm
blind
marking
out.
it and everything.
It was after the Miller Water Sewer.
Check that box.
LTL,
Sewer?
skipped the
Oh,
public
Jesus.
works.
So Steve is home sleeping
Yeah.
because he was working all
Yeah.
night last night along with all the guys. So they've been doing a lot of equipment maintenance over the last few weeks and just kind of focusing on that and then keeping the roads cleared, clean, stuff like that. They were on call all night last night, did a great job. They kept the roads cleared.
Do we have a lot of trees down?
We did have quite a few trees down. We had several road closures because of flooding, and they did a real good job with all that. Like I mentioned, we will be having some special meetings coming up over the next 3 Wednesdays for you guys. I think next week we would like to focus on talking about the potential road projects for 2024. Make sure you guys are on board with those because this is the time where we try to get the design finalized so we can get out to bid as quick as possible to get the best bids. Also, we'd like to talk about the schoolhouse and then plans for campus renovations, and so that would be next Wednesday if that sounds okay with you guys. All right, 7 o'clock. So we'll post an agenda for that. And we briefly touched on the Girl Scout property preservation. So that was finalized finally this past week. So I think they've been trying to do some news blurbs and that sort of thing, having the public came across one here.
Yep.
Take a collective bow. There are 488 acres of open space preserved in New Hanover and Upper Frederick.
We
Yeah.
contribute to this?
And so one of the bills on your bill list tonight was to pay one of 3 installments. So we contributed about $80,000 to this purchase. And it will have a trail kind of along the southern portion of the Girl Scout property connecting over to New Hanover Road. So ultimately, the goal would be to try to connect Wayland Park and Spielhofer